If you're like any of my clients that have their website on the Shopify platform, then you might be wondering, are there any SEO settings or any SEO best practices that you should keep in mind when uploading a new blog post to Shopify? If that's what you're wondering, then you have made it to the right video. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I'm Mariah from MariahMagazine.com, and on this channel, I help simplify things like SEO, websites, tech, and I dive into tools and recommendations to help you grow your online business in a way that works for you. So in today's video, basically, I'm going to hop into a screen share and I'm going to walk you through the process of uploading a new blog post to the Shopify platform and what things that you should be keeping in mind if you want your blog post to be SEO friendly. All right, let's just get into it. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is log into your Shopify website. And obviously, like your home screen, your dashboard, it might look a little different. Also, website platforms and software just gets updated sometimes, so it might not look exactly like this. But basically, under Sales Channel, so we want to click on Online Store. And if you don't see that, you might have to click this little caret here and then search for Online Store or basically have Online Store pop up. But once you have that, click on Online Store and you should see blog posts right under there. And so what you're going to do is click add a blog post right there. And then we have your blog post settings and it seems pretty standard. Okay. So what I do, for some reason, I don't like creating content in like the Shopify platform natively. Some people do. If you like doing that, by all means run with it. But me and my clients typically like to create content in a Google Doc. So what you can do is open up the Google Doc, and this is just one that my client wrote that she's letting me use for this YouTube video. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paste that right in there. And then we have your blog post title right here. So we're gonna go ahead and snag that up here and then paste it right in there. Pretty standard stuff, but as you can see, this is the blog post content right here. But notice how I plan out blog posts keeping SEO in mind and how I try to get my clients to plan out blog posts keeping SEO in mind. So I like to add this information before I actually write the content. And so what I like to do is do keyword research, and I'm not going to go into keyword research in this video. I have a whole bunch of videos on my channel that walk through different tools that you can use. But for this piece of content, we have a target keyword, and then we naturally have secondary keywords. So this is kind of like different variations or different synonyms of this target keyword. And so these can naturally become secondary keywords. And then I also like to plan out the URL slug or the permalink. So this is like what the URL will be of the post when it's live. So I want you to notice that it's basically like the target keyword with a couple words added on because we wanted to combine a target keyword with the secondary keywords. I'm gonna try not to get into the strategy too much of that, but essentially what you want to do is to make sure that you have dashes that separate words, okay? So not underscores, but dashes, and we don't want to have it look like this because Google and other search engines take a look at the dashes to be able to understand what words are separate words or not. Okay, so I'm going to show you where you can go ahead and customize this. But the other thing that I like to plan out before I add a blog post to the Shopify website is I like to plan out the SEO title and meta description. So these are pieces of metadata that don't show up on like the front end of the website that like your website visitors read. These are pieces of metadata that's in the code of your website that only usually show up in like a Google search results page. So if you go to a Google or even like another search engine and you see that big text right there, that's usually the SEO title. And then the text below it is the meta description. It's like an excerpt. Okay, so we definitely want to customize these things for every single blog post that we create on our website, because if we don't, Shopify is kind of just going to generate its own, or Google will generate its own. Sometimes it's not very SEO friendly. So we want to think of this metadata as like how can we give information to the Google searcher to give them information to entice them to click over from the Google search results page over to our website? Because that's what this metadata is for. It's the only piece of information that users can see in order to make a decision on, do I want to click on your blog post or somebody else's? So that's why it's really important that we customize this stuff. And it's also a good place to put your target keyword because it gives more context clues to the search engines on what your target keyword is for this specific blog post. So I like to plan all of that out before I go ahead and upload the blog post to Shopify itself. So we have the title, we have the blog content itself, and we're going to come back to this, but we're going to scroll a little bit and you're going to see search engine listing preview, hit edit website SEO. This is where you're going to customize the SEO title, the meta description, and the URL for the actual blog post. So I went in and just pasted the SEO title, meta description, and permalink here from the actual document. Now, if I'm just being a little critical about things, this is what my client named this specific blog. To me, this is way too long. I would shorten this. I'm not going to go ahead and do this in this video because it would require 301 redirects, but we're just going to keep moving along here. Okay, so the other thing to keep in mind is that you can change the author. You can also change the blog if you have numerous blogs on the site. This is where you would do it here. And then you can go ahead and add tags to this blog post specifically. Okay, so tags are not a place for you to dump your SEO keywords. This is to help users sift through your content on the web. Okay, so we want to use tags very intentionally. And then if we scroll up a little bit more, we can add a featured image here, which I always recommend doing. So I just uploaded a stock photo. You can upload any kind of image that you want. Just a couple recommendations here. So make sure that you resize the image before you upload it to the website. We do not want 300 wide pixel images uploaded to all of your blog posts. That's way, way, way too big. Try to resize that image. Usually like 800 pixels wide is usually pretty good. And then the other thing to keep in mind is like the image file type. We want to use a smaller image file type because that can help speed up the loading time of the actual site. So we don't want to use like a PNG image. Those images are really big and they're typically only used for logos or like brand elements if they need a transparent background. So this image I think is a JPEG. And so JPEGs are just naturally smaller images than PNGs. Okay, so keep that in mind when uploading an image, and then you're going to want to click update here and then click edit image. This is where we're going to give this image an alt text. Okay, so this is kind of like a secret hidden setting when you're uploading an image to a Shopify blog post, but we definitely want to see if we can get the target keyword in the image alt text, if we can get it in there and sound natural, because we want to keep in mind that the image alt text was actually created for accessibility of the web. So screen readers essentially read the image alt text to visually impaired people on the web that are using a screen reader. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is not a place for you to stuff your SEO keywords and stuff like that. If you want more information on crafting an image alt text, I have another video on my channel. I will leave a link to that in the video description box below, but I am going to fill in this real quick. So this is just a really quick image alt text that I whipped up in literally 3 seconds, but notice that I didn't even get the target keyword in there because our target keyword is how to clean gold jewelry. And to be honest, that's not what this image is about. So that's okay. It's not make or break if you get your target keyword into your featured image alt text. You can always add another image within the blog post content itself and then edit that images alt text and see if you can get the target keyword in there. Okay, so different ways to do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and click save. I'm interrupting this video really quick because I created something super awesome and I want to share it with you. So if you need help planning out your SEO keywords for your blog posts, for your product pages, for your homepage, for any page on your website, then definitely check out my SEO keyword planner. It's a 5-page editable workbook created in Google Sheets that will help you brainstorm, organize data, and strategize your keywords accordingly. I include tips, best practices, and examples to help you get started. Click the link in the video description below to check it out. And then I want to talk about the actual content itself here. So this was just copy and pasted from Google Docs, but it's not formatted well, okay? So basically, the reason why formatting matters in terms of Google and in terms of SEO is because of user experience on a website. Users don't read content on the web like they do a book. And so we need to infuse like scannability best practices into the content to keep the users on the page longer and to have them be able to scan content on the web. So basically what I would do is make sure that we are using the correct headings here. So I just made this an H2 heading. A fun fact is that we don't want to add any H1s to the blog post content itself because the blog post title in Shopify is automatically going to be wrapped in an H1 heading tag, and we only want one H1 heading per page. So only use H2 headings, H3, H4, like all of these, and we want to consider them in terms of content hierarchy. So if I was going to break down content within this section here and I needed another heading, I would then make that heading an H3 heading. Okay, so we can see it right here. That's what I'm going to do, an H3 heading. And then these are the steps. So I'm going to make this an H2 heading. And then we want to use bold and italics because those kind of help with the scannability of the content itself. So we're just going to format this a little bit better. All of that. Okay, so that's great. And then we don't usually want big blocks of text here. So we actually want to break this up a little bit. And so maybe we want to create some extra lines, and I'm not really reading this to see like where exactly it makes sense, but we might want to do something like that. Now that just makes it like less overwhelming to look at when we add a little bit of white space here. We might want to bold or underline something. So you can read this and see, hey, like with your blog post, what would make sense to draw the user's attention? We can also add internal links. Like maybe we want to highlight real plants preserved in 18 karat gold or silver. My client, whose website this is, has a bunch of products related to that. So maybe I want to add a link that then links to her product collection pages and stuff like that. Okay, so interlinking content together within your blog post is going to be really, really helpful. If you are going to link to a URL that is off of your website, so like maybe this client added statistics and she wants to link to the source, then definitely make sure that that URL opens up in a new tab so that when a user clicks on it, you're not taking the user off of your website. And then if I'm just giving feedback in terms of like what I would do here, I would probably like materials needed. I might either add like images of things, or I might link out to, maybe I'm an Amazon affiliate and I might link out to like those specific products on Amazon or on another platform or something like that. In terms of the steps to clean gold jewelry, if I wanted to bulk up this content a little bit, maybe I record a video of myself doing it, or maybe I have images that show visually how to do this step by step. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind when you're adding a blog post. I know that this isn't like SEO settings, but it's also like, how can we make the content so helpful for the user that is going to be reading it or finding it? Okay, so once we feel good about the blog post and we're ready to publish it, go ahead and publish it. And then I want you to view the blog post on the front end so that we can go ahead and snag this URL right here and then go ahead and copy it. What you're going to do is then open up Google Search Console. If you don't already have that set up, it only takes a couple minutes. I will leave a link in the video description box below on how to set up Google Search Console. But in Google Search Console, what you're going to do is paste this URL and submit it to Google. So how to do that process, I know 2 videos here, but how to do that process, I will also leave a link in the video description box below, because we want to go ahead and submit this new blog post URL to Google. What this does is kind of tap Google on the shoulder and let them know, hey, there's a new blog post, put it in line to crawl it. Now, I will say you don't have to do this. this. Google will probably eventually find your blog post, but you already took the time to create the content. Why not just do one extra step and kind of let Google know that the blog post is a thing? Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If you need help creating like an SEO title or a meta description, I forgot to mention, I do have an ebook that walks you through how to craft successful SEO titles and meta descriptions. You can use the code SEOLOVE10 to get $10 off in case you were interested in that. But definitely keep in mind like your character limit for the page titles and for the meta description. And actually, like, Shopify is pretty good. Sometimes you do have 70 characters here, but sometimes you have less. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I will say, usually in terms of the meta description, I've seen very, very few meta descriptions where Google shows 320 characters. Usually it's around 155 to 160. So those are just some bonus tips to keep in mind when you're crafting this SEO title and this meta description stuff. But hopefully this was helpful in terms of like showing you where different settings are and what to keep in mind when you're uploading a new blog post to Shopify. So that's it for today's video. If you guys found this video helpful, give me a really quick thumbs up. Truly, the simple thumbs up does go a long way in letting the YouTube algorithm know that my video is helpful, and therefore hopefully pushing it out to more people that also might find it helpful. And if you have any questions about the Shopify platform or Shopify SEO or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment below this video. Let me know your questions, your comments, and your feedback, because I use that stuff to be able to inspire new videos on this channel. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications, and I will see you in the next video. If you made it to the end of this video and you're just getting started with DIY SEO, but you want some help navigating the process, then definitely consider downloading my free roadmap to successful SEO. The free SEO guide dives into what SEO is, why it's important, and how search engines work, along with my 6-step process to improving your SEO and your rankings. And then finally, I dive into the 3 tasks that you can start doing today to get the results that you want from Google. If you want to go ahead and snag this for yourself, then you can click the link in the video description box below, or you can head over to my website at mariahmagazine.com/roadmap to download your own copy.